what do you think sets us apart as an agency leasing team, people that are advising landlords on filling up their buildings, and what's kind of been your approach and experience on how they see you?
Yeah, I think there's two things that really set us apart, Scott, things that owners really like about us, the reasons why they're hiring us. I think the first thing is we take an ownership mindset behind all the listings that we've got. A lot of that kind of comes from my background, having worked for a large institutional owner, bridge commercial real estate for the first several years of my career. And so I couldn't help but to think like an owner, because that's all I knew for so long, and then going into the brokerage side full time, it helped me a lot, because most of the brokers I interacted with simply just thought like brokers because that's all they ever knew, and that's fine. But a lot of our owners like that we know kind of how they think, and we've been in their shoes before too. And so we're not just trying to get them to do every single deal that comes across the table to get ourselves paid as soon as we possibly can. We really want to try to create value for them and their asset. And then the next thing is we're just not really trying to pick up every single possible listing that we can. We don't want to put our sign up every single building around town. We want to be strategic about taking listings that we believe in and we know that we can lease. And that means turning down some listings sometimes for owners that want us to take it over, because we might not believe in the situation or the specific asset. And so we try to just be very careful about what we take on, because we only want to take on something that we know we can go execute.
That's good.
I think also too, taking a proactive approach versus reactive. I think a lot of brokers out there will sit there and wait for the phone call to come to them, wait till the deal to come to them, come to their property. We want to go out there and take on a new listing, go and talk to neighboring tenants, understand what those needs are, make sure they're aware of the property next to them. We've had success with that approach. We had a client earlier this year that usually works with larger brokerage shops, and they took a chance with us, and we took that approach and went out and found prospects that brought them through their building and ended up resulting in a transaction. So I think they made a point to say to us that they had not seen that with the other brokerage shops that they worked with. So I think it was a eye-opening, because that's just kind of how we work. We want to be more hands-on.
And there's no doubt, I'm sure you're seeing this around the country, in that a lot of these big box new buildings that have just been built, call it 200, 300,000 square feet plus, a lot of these owners built these buildings spec, and we're hoping to lease it to one tenant, knock it out really quickly. And that hasn't necessarily been the case. So owners have had to think about how can they get creative, how can they start demising, leasing it to smaller tenants in the building. And so we just think there's a lot of opportunity in big box new construction that's been recently delivered. But it's really, really important to make sure that you've got the right team that's focused on your asset. I think another thing that we're seeing right now, the great opportunity for so many investor clients, is just in the flex space.
Yeah.
And what does flex mean? That means a lot of different things to a lot of different people. And for us, it just means something that's a little bit lower tier from historically industrial assets, probably, a significant more amount of office space, grade level drive-in, probably not a large truck court, where you're having a lot of big deliveries from 18-wheelers and higher. And so the reason why we like flex space, we've been really successful flex space, is because really just can't be built anymore. With construction prices as high as they've been in a long time, for new buildings and even for tenant improvements, it's just created tremendous demand for flex assets. And so one thing that we've seen a lot is that, a lot of these buildings 10, 15 years ago were industrial. Owners bought them, converted them to creative office. And now, since the office has started to slow down, people are buying these creative office assets and converting them back to flex.
Yeah.
But one thing that owners are saying to us and that we're seeing is that, well, we feel like there's too much office space. Right now, it seems like most of the demand in the market for investors is assets with 10 to 30% office. But we really still see and have seen a lot of demand in the market for users that still need 60 to 70 to 80% office space with a warehouse space in the back. There's so many companies out there that need that. And so I would just caution these owners, don't get scared by the O word. That scares people a lot. Sometimes there is a lot of demand in the market, depending on the specific situation in the area, for assets that have 60 to 80% office.
Yeah, that's good. I think that another trend we're seeing is clearly the slowdown in the bulk demand. And it's really probably more normalized, but because of how crazy things got after COVID in that space, it feels dramatic, but it's really more of a normal, kind of healthy market in my mind. But still, there's a lot of folks that are out there with empty bulk warehouses that are not seeing a lot of activity. And so I think that's a function of, we probably were a little aggressive on the supply side of things, and the music hasn't stopped, but it's not playing as loudly as it was previously.